All right, let's see if this is actually working. Because nothing ever fucks up around here. Working. Good. Fuck you. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, F-bombs are armed and may be dropped. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I must be in a great mood today, right? Someday I will learn how to share that screen before I've even started. But until then, last time, morning squatch. Reckless discharge of F-bomb. No, it was very intentional. Nothing particularly reckless, Morning Black. Black Magic, I got some bad news for you, bud. I'm not white. No, I'm not. I am more than 50%. It's like 58%. But here's the real shocker. I am like 3% Korean? Wait, what? Chinese I would understand, but Korean, where the hell did that come from? But anyway, don't insult primates by comparing me to them. Squatch, you know better. All right. So it is 13 January 2022, and believe it or not, I have not anything legitimate to bitch about. I'm having this was actually a really good week. The only shocking things were related to 6th January. What was that? It was what we all knew all along anyway, and people were saying before it even started, don't go. I gave like 2 seconds of thought to it and realized, you know what? I have a job. I'm not going. It'd be one thing if I lived in the area. Then I'd take a day off work, I'd go, and no big deal. But no. Okay. That's interesting. And yes, I actually believe in science. Some scientist, I forgot. He was a scientist and a theologian. Said the first sip of science will make you an atheist, but God is hiding at the bottom of the cup. I think that's the right quote. Ooh. So, yeah, science is the language of God. Ooh, hot take. So, excuse me, I do want to delve into something. I meant to do this last week, actually. The Denver fires. All right. Typically, wildfire season, is late spring to maybe early fall, right? But this year, a very odd and strange wildfire hit the Denver area in early winter. Morning, Toads. It's one of those very weird things that does happen sometimes. And it got into the city and it did a lot of damage. Now, here's the interesting part. People are trying to run away from the fire, which means firefighters can't get to the fire as easily, right? They're trying to force their way against traffic. What if those people had been able to, rather than run away from the fire, turn around and fight it instead, or at least help the firefighters fight it? Would the fire have gotten into the city? I don't think so. In fact, historically, it's been proven out the answer is no. If you don't believe me, look into the 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake. I know I keep talking about that, like fucking every chance I get. I've even come out and said what the fire captain did was very, very, very technically illegal, and I don't give a fuck because A, nobody got hurt, and B, more people would have died if he hadn't done something illegal. And it would have been a civil matter anyway. You want to take that guy into a criminal courtroom? Go ahead. I'll be there to testify for the defense. So yeah. Why couldn't those people have turned around and fought the fire? Because they don't know how. And I'm not even joking. Squatch, I think, is the only one here who might have been able, if he'd been there, to run alongside those firefighters and maybe move fire hoses or cut a fire line. And that's a big one. Moving the fire hoses and cutting the fire lines are the two big ones. If you want to go above and beyond that, we'll talk about that in a moment, in a little while. But between here and there, those are the two simplest functions. The rest of you, I don't think you know how to do. Hell, I barely know how to move a fire hose over 4-inch, and it's not like you just bend down, grab one end, and move that end rather. It's actually a skill. You got to know how to do it, and I don't. I know how to cut a fire line, but not how to move fire hose or any of the other more sophisticated elements. Before you say it, I know. It looks so simple on TV. I've been on the other side of that story, all right, as a shipboard firefighter. Those lines can hurt you if you try to lift them incorrectly. You can damage them very easily if you try to drag them wrong. Matter of fact, the 2-inch hoses, you can damage them very, very easily if you try to move them wrong. And they can hurt you if you try to move them wrong because you didn't know how. Give them credit. Backdraft, they actually did talk very, very briefly about the problem. The older brother's saying, "Get it up on your shoulder, Proby." Yeah, that's actually part of it. It's also how to pick it up. Okay, I gotta catch up on chat because you guys are going crazy. No, Squatch, some of your jokes aren't that bad. Just most of them. Black Magic said, "Weak men make hard times," and it's true. And I'm over the caps lock. And Squatch says, "Hard times make great men." Okay, I'm caught up. So, here is my great and grand and really bizarre question, because that's what I do so well. Why are we not doing this in high school? I can only speak for when I was in high school. Freshman high school, I was required to take driver ed. I wouldn't be driving for another 3 years at least, but I was required to take the class in first aid. I wish I'd kind of focused on first aid a lot harder, and I regret that now. I'm sorry. That was one semester. The other semester I was required to do typing. Nobody types anymore. All right? Voice to text, people. I'm going to eventually end this stream, and about an hour later, maybe 2 hours, it's going to be converted into a the hell do you call it? It's a box you can pop it, whatever the fuck it's called, and see all of the words I said, and they even have a way to blank out the fuck and the other bad words. All right. And then you go back, you listen. Oh, okay, it's there. I've heard vaguely that if you know what your settings are, or if you're a professional, maybe they will bleep out those words for you if you ask them to. Okay, great. And it's for monetization for those of you who give a fuck. I don't. So why are we still teaching typing? Is anybody going to be typing in 10 years? No. No. In 10 years, typing will be as dead as Latin. That's the truth. I know many Latin terms like fabricae and mercantile and prima facie from my degrees. It doesn't mean I speak Latin. It might be closed captions there, Squatch, or Black Magic rather. Oh no, Squatch. High school is when you should be learning the skills you need to become an adult. Before that, it's when you should be learning the skills you need to be in high school. You know, like 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 2 = 4. Then you get to high school, and okay, so why do I give a fuck about 4? Posse comitatus is a local law matter. But yes, that's a Latin term too. I think it's Latin. Why are we teaching typing rather than something that could actually save your fucking life? Do you actually need to drive? Think about this for a very, very long second. Do you actually need a driver's license in life? If you said yes, you're wrong. You don't have to have a driver's license. You don't have to have a car. You need a driver's license to you don't actually need the driver's license, I guess, to know basic rules of the road. But you do need to know the rules of the road to some degree. You need the driver ed to know the rules of the road. But at the end of the day, no, you don't really need driver ed. You don't need to drive. Morning, Luke. See, Luke here is a professional driver. And that's as much as I'm going to say about that. He does need a driver's license. He needs a special driver's license. Totes here does not need a driver's license. He doesn't own a car. Totes, correct me if I'm wrong, but you've never owned a car, have you? You and me have one thing in common. We both love bicycles. Do you need a driver's license to operate a bicycle? No, you just need to know how to not hit the other bicyclists and the pedestrians and blah, 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 blah. We could be taking that first year and starting you at least to understand things that will save your life. So we can keep the first aid on, but drop the driver ed, drop the typing. There's schools that have dropped typing since I was in, at least. No word on what they replaced it with. My cousin has had his license revoked for coming up on 10 years because he chose to sleep it off in his car rather instead of driving drunk. His life has been wrecked ever since. Ooh. Excuse me. That is unfortunate, Black. In 10 years? After 2 years, he should have been able to address that through the court system. I would encourage your cousin to talk to an attorney. It's not free. I'm going to say it's not going to be free. But you should talk to an attorney. And I'm going to take a guess. Your cousin was sleeping behind the wheel with the keys in the ignition. Possibly not the keys in the ignition, depending on the state. That's probably where the ticket came from. I'm sorry. That's unfortunate. Pro tip, if you're going to sleep it off in your car, sleep in the passenger seat or the back seat. Okay, I'm not going to ask for the story here, Toads. Maybe you do it on your own. And I do stand corrected. Denver, like Green, the hell is the name of that city? Or Paradise, California, or 100 others would not even be gone now. And Paradise pisses me off because at least 100 people died to a combination of malicious forest mismanagement and, well, you know what? I'm going to go there. Malicious ignorance. Those who know what the threat is have maliciously refused to allow those who do not know what the threat is to address it reasonably and rationally and intelligently, have worked so hard to vilify the M word that I'm afraid to say it now. I know if I say the M word, I will actually get in trouble. Even though it's in the fucking Constitution. The engine was running. Black magic brings up an interesting point. Sometimes you're better off just committing the crime. Unfortunately, you'll only ever know that in hindsight. So, let us with an adult mindset and not a juvenile mindset, which I'm afraid I'm going to get 3 or 4 of in this stream, contemplate and consider resurrecting the militia system. Denver would not have burned. Paradise would not have burned. There's at least 2 other cities in California that burned to the ground because the people didn't know what to do. There are people that I knew growing up. I've said friends, not really. Classmates. The last I know of them, they were living in Paradise, just outside of Paradise. I heard from them back. The one in particular I'm thinking of actually was very much not a friend of mine, but moving right along. The last I heard of her was 2017. Something that cropped up on Facebook. Oh, fuck her. Right? Haven't heard from her since. Have no idea what happened. The only conclusion I can draw is she's dead. And no, we're not talking about bucket brigades here. Black magic. That would be a whole lot extreme. For God's sakes, haven't enough people died because our so-called leaders don't want to do the things they need to do? All right. I've got to hit this because it's... Well, anyway. Totes says, those wild, quotation marks, look for yourself, fires are being deliberately set. And some of them are. Some of them provably were. I started harping on this during the 2020 fire season. I believe it. Yeah. Well, yeah. Because me and Papa Carey went up into Oregon to chase the fires. I regret in retrospect that I understood that the situation was very, very serious and provoking a cop was a bad idea. But we actually saw a cop sitting on a crossroad. We stopped. We talked to her for about 45, a couple minutes, okay? I really wish I had just asked her a couple questions. Like, okay, what road is this? Why is it closed? Who can enter? Thank you very much. I'm out of here. All right, guys, you'll have to excuse me. I'm going to step off screen for a second. I'm not quite fully over last week's cold. Okay. Where was I? Yes. Some of those fires provably are being set. The one that destroyed Greenville, Greenbrier, something like that, California, was deliberately set. My theory is that the Paradise Fire, a campfire, was accidentally set by probably homeless people stealing copper. Yes, PG&E was blamed. I know everybody's going to say, oh, it was PG&E. No, I don't think that's the cause of the fire. You will never convince me that that was the cause of the fire. People stealing copper is how that fire started. And the bolt or whatever it was failed in the course of the fire. Morning, cheese. And don't worry about it. Hell, I was late today. And that's all I'm going to say about it. Some of them are provably natural. Lightning strikes. I want to say Denver was naturally started. There's a lot of related issues. The traffic accident, and it was an accident, although it was an avoidable accident, that resulted in the 10-year prison sentence recommendation. Okay. The crash happened. It was a preventable accident. Okay, fine. A lot of what happened afterwards could have been addressed by people that got caught in that traffic. The I-95 thing. I don't exactly know how that started, but there were people caught in that for up to 40 hours. And as of when I was live last week, if my timelines are correct, I learned about it after that. There were still people caught in the cleanup of that mess, all of these people could have been helping the response. And instead, they're just trapped in their cars, including a sitting U.S. senator who had a bottle of Dr. Pepper and an orange, and that was it. I'm just saying. What is it? Okay, Black Magic asks, why does it say 2 watching when I'm talking with 5 people? Am I insane? You are not insane, Black. And YouTube is particularly been noted for this. Certain channels, the ones that they're trying to throttle, they will tell you there are 3 people watching when there's at least 5. And certain channels, there's like 10 people watching. But because it's the right kind of channel, they'll say 20 people are watching. Oh, for fuck's sake. I'm sorry, guys. Stop cam for a second. I'm really not quite over last week's cold. Oh. I thought I took everything I needed for this morning, and I'm sorry. Is going to explode. Keywords: culture, disenfranchised feeling. You don't even want to talk about that disenfranchised thing with me. There's a reason I will go back to California for Papa Carey's sake for a weekend. I will never, ever live in California again. The state can burn to the ground for all I care. And disenfranchisement is the reason. And that county clerk's got a lot of fucking nerve telling a member of the military he can't vote. But let's just move on for now. How about I calm down a little bit? Okay. I wanted to talk about the good news. I can't do anything about it because then it's handling. Anyway, you guys know what I keep in the background. Let's not even bullshit each other here. Okay. So we're at about a half an hour in. Since I don't actually have anything to bitch about today, I'm going to lead into a little bit more of the actually, I'm going to lead into a little bit more of the everyday carry, and then the get home bag segment. This is my always everyday carry. You know the only place I don't carry a multi-tool? A plane, because it's illegal now. Before 9/11, I carried multi-tools onto planes. I don't remember the flight to, okay, I can get to that in a moment. The flight from, was it Sacramento? I believe it was Sacramento to New Jersey to report to boot camp. Anyway, this is over 20 years ago, so bear with me. I'm getting on the plane. I've got the multi-tool on me. I show it to security, and they say, oh, that's fine. And I remember thinking, gee, that doesn't sound right to me, but okay. 8 years later, I'm flying from the United States to Puerto Rico. I show it to security and they say, oh, that's fine. Are you serious? No. I must be thinking of a different flight because by then, multi-tools were banned on planes. This literally the only place I don't carry this is on a plane. I've carried them onto buses, Greyhound buses, not city buses. I've carried them onto trains. Okay, one time, but a train. I've carried them. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you the places that I've carried this that I shouldn't have been allowed to. And I've done it. And by the way, this is not actually mine. This is from a rather cheap $20 kit. Comes with a knife and a piece of crap flashlight that I throw away. But I keep a couple spare sets around the house well, that's from my sewing kit. What did I miss? Eyes and feeling words. Let's talk about business. Anybody who puts politics ahead of business eventually or inevitably and deservedly will be a failure of both. God damn it, I forgot my own quote. Ask for Zoom calls. There's one had wow, Black, that's it's a Zoom call. Cheese is correct. Okay. My ultimate everyday carry is and will always be a multi-tool. Any multi-tool at the end of the day, although I'm partial to Gerber. All right. Oh, I did, damn it. I did these last week. Get home bag. All right. Food packet. A packet of food enough to get you home. This one is rated at 2,400 calories. This particular brand, it smells like peanut butter and tastes like bread. But they lived up to every last one of their claims that I know I can prove. I'm more than willing to bet that their claim that this is 2,400 calories is true. I just don't have a way to prove it. And it's about $20. You can order it over the internet. Go to any hardware store. I think any hardware store. I can't think of one that doesn't. Any national chain. You might have to go to a different store to find it in that chain, but it's the red bags. They also carry them at Walmart. I can say that. Pick up a bag. Do a little bit of a Google search. You'll find it, and you're good to go. Just order a couple. Have them sitting in your car just in case. Camera time, guys. I'm so sorry. Guys, Cheese Bear's right. If you can leave your camera off, do it. He says as he turns the camera back on, I'm a little bit different. I'm advocating something. And I made a very conscientious decision that I would not hide behind an anonymous thing. One of the few praises my opponents ever gave me is that I would not hide behind anonymity. Unfortunately, I did have to start hiding behind anonymity about a year and a half later. There's people out there that know my real name. It would take them like 20 minutes to put, they think, mandatory carry. I know I've heard that somewhere. And then go through their own personal history and Oh, that pretentious little idiot. I bet you that's mandatory carry. And they'd be right. Okay. Yeah. Black magic, on the other hand, overpacks. And Luke, go to a hardware store then, all right? What do you want me to say? Oh, rough morning, guys. In so many ways. Moving right along. Order a couple of the packets. All right. And always, always, always. Let you guys in on a little bit of a secret. I think Luke knows a little bit about this. I use this bottle here. You see that discoloration? Yeah. Ooh. Ooh, you can even see the SR. That's a Seaman Recruit. Because there are certain people that do not like me that never ever tried. I didn't try, I did it. Okay, Toads. Email me again. I need to talk to you. No. Geez, we cannot. I can't do anything about your coffee problem. Luke, unless you happen to be carrying those red bags, you are not the hardware store I'm going to. I'm just saying it's true. All right. And holy shit, I'm only 30 minutes in. All right. Cheese Bear. Was it Cheese Bear or Black Magic? No, it was Totes. Wow. It appears I missed quite a bit today because you guys are on Ritalin or something. By the way, don't carry Ritalin in your get-home bag. That's a bad idea. I believe it was Toads. Asked about the DARPA leak. Now, first of all, it's not a leak. It's a release. I'm going to talk about gaslighting and the DARPA release and CDC, and I don't care. It's the truth, and fuck you, and fuck your feelings, and fuck your science. There, I said it. About 3 or 4 years ago, I guess it was, or maybe it was 3 or 4 years before all this started. A company, I forgot the name, but it's been mentioned 100 damn times, went to DARPA and said, hey, we'd like to start experimenting with this new thought, this new idea of taking a virus and massaging it, manipulating it, whatever it was that they turned to DARPA and said. And DARPA said no, or at least we're not doing it because it's dangerous. We're not going to do this. We're not going to help you do this. You are on your own. Good luck. Go away. A certain doctor with the NIH, I think it's NIH, by the name of Anthony Fauci, so F in chat for my channel, said, well, maybe I can work around this issue. Okay, Black, no problem. And he went to another company or another outfit. Now, flag on the play, guys. So far, the only thing I've seen is everybody saying we want to research it and not develop it. There is a huge difference between research and development. Research is always part of development, but development is not necessarily part of research. And to give you an oversimplified example, there was a company, I think out of Sweden. I think they're out of Sweden. IMI, International Military. Well, anyway, they make replica equipment from military history. One of the things they were making about 3 or 4 years ago was Panzergraben. Panzergraben is German trench armor from World War I. The machine gunners have to sit in X spot. Their assistants can move around a little bit. Their ammo boys move around in the trench, so they're generally pretty safe. But the guy who's actually on the trigger, he's got to sit in this one spot. He's totally exposed. A well-aimed rock in a good arm could hit him. So they started wearing this frontal steel plate armor. It was a good 1/4 inch thick, right? That war ended. World War I or II rather began, and towards the start of the war, tank commanders were being issued Panzergraben, but nobody else because it was just too restrictive, and that's okay. And my understanding is even the tank crews were like, "Yeah, fuck this." After a couple of years at most, and then it just went away. It disappeared for years. And then this company, this IMI out of Sweden, started producing replica armor based on the old German blueprint. And that's okay. There's a lot of interest in this kind of material. I mean, the replica Nazi uniforms are one of the hottest selling items on the internet. And you'll be very, very surprised to learn that most of it is going to people who are legitimately anti-Nazi. World War II reenactors, a lot of that sort of stuff ends up in Israel, of all places. You'd think, no, yeah, it heads right straight there. It's pretty popular throughout Europe, because somebody's got to be the bad guy, or nobody can be the bad guy. It's as simple as that. Now, this armor in particular, it is replica, but it's not a perfect replica. InRange TV got their hands on a set, and they tested it to see how authentic a replica it is. It was able to stop all of the pistol, this replica armor now, was able to stop all of the pistol rounds that they fired at it, and one of the rifle rounds, I don't remember which one. It didn't even slow down the the armor penetrator round, but it did cause it to detonate, which was a very interesting detail that Carl and him went over afterwards. But moving right along, I realized that the only thing you needed to do to take this replica armor and make it original military spec was to harden the armor. And Carl briefly touches on that in his video. How do you harden this armor after it's formed? Well, one very easy way is case hardening. Case hardening is when you put a carbonizing substance into a sealed container with the metal that you want to harden, and then heat it up. I think it's to 2,000 degrees. If you are an expert in this field, let me know if I've made a mistake here. And then you just cook it for a few hours. The carbonizing substance turns into carbon gas. The gas then seeps into the metal and increases the carbon content of the metal. It's actually a pretty simple concept. It's a difficult process, and I researched how to harden Panzergravin. And that's kind of the point here. Research does not always become development. So this lab or this company that reached out to DARPA didn't necessarily develop anything. They turned to DARPA and said, we want to research this. That's also the interesting point of the 20s, what was that? August of 2021? Fauci leaks. Flag on the play. I am very suspicious of leaked emails because I've seen how easy they can be to manipulate. By now, if Fauci's emails had been manipulated, I think he would have said something. But maybe he's keeping his mouth shut for unrelated reasons. God damn you guys. I cannot keep up. Oh, Black, there are 4 lights. And I'm going to say it even when it's not true, because fuck you. Is it train slides today, but I'm already triggered. Trophy of my, but I'm a bit weird. Yes, like I've noticed that. You're very, very different. That's okay. I'm insane. Okay. I am caught up after all. Where was I? Oh, I'm somewhat suspicious of leaked emails, but if Fauci's were in any way manipulated, I think I would have heard something by now. So take it with a grain of salt. All of the Fauci emails from last year, all it tells us is that they did the research. It doesn't mean they did the development. Oh, for fuck's sake. All the DARPA emails tell us is that somebody wanted to do the research and DARPA said no, not with our money. Oh, I was having such a good day, Cheese. Maybe it'll die in the Senate. Yeah, sure. All right. We'll just see what happens. I also don't like puking on stream, which is why I cut last week's afternoon short. Moving right along. Where was I? What this does tell us, though, is that there were people out there who really want to look at this gain of function thing. And gain of function is genetic engineering. Genetic engineering in general, is a very, very bad idea. Right? Flag on the play. It'd be one thing if we were talking about corn or wheat or soybeans or whatever it was. And we thoroughly tested it before it went to market for cross-contamination of allergens. Because I know one of the things they tried splicing into corn early on was peanut DNA. There are people that are allergic to peanuts. Definitely allergic to peanuts. I apparently am definitely allergic to coconut, which I've never heard of being used, but maybe it has and I don't know. But even the Monsanto experiment had very, very serious consequences that they didn't foresee. X field of corn, X field was planted with corn. This is late 90s, I think. Y field was also planted with corn. Y field is a couple miles away. Monsanto sued the owner of that second field because their strain of corn ended up in the second field. How? Well, their claim is it was stolen. My belief is that bees or flies or rats or something went through Monsanto's field, carried some pollen, and carried it a couple miles to the other field. Oh, cross-contamination. And it's your own fault, Monsanto. You should have done it in an austere environment until you were ready to go to market. That's entirely on you. But anyway, moving right along. When you're talking about a animal kingdom item, this raises things. Corn does not have intrinsic mobility. Viruses, bacteria, rats, cows do. And that is a very, very different thing. Now you're raising that standard, that you're raising that danger threshold. Absolutely 100% bare minimum. I missed something because what the hell is going on over here? Okay. This was just Black Magic and Cheese getting along. My bad. I thought you two were fighting. Oh. We don't. Black Magic. And if you want to know what he said, read it. Moving right along. Do not do genetic engineering on animal kingdom anything. Now, I know there's some sort of something that says that viruses are not animal kingdom because of RNA versus DNA. That basically they're robots. All right. I don't care. And if the coronavirus crisis has taught us anything, the first and foremost thing is a lesson we should have learned from Star Trek, which is don't build nanobots. For those of you that remember that episode, cheers. Just stay away from nanotechnology in general and stay all the way away from genetic engineering of animals. And could we learn the lesson any better? That's part of the reason why I have believed since February of 2020, January of 2020, I just came out and said it 1 February 2020, and I have the screenshot to prove it, and Black Magic might be able to still find it. It was over at the bathtub. Black, you do follow Matt and Blonde, right? I came out and said Iran created the coronavirus. I remember it was like 2 in the morning and I was trying to stay awake because I was at work. And I think the shutdowns were about to start. I wanted to make sure I was the first to say it, even if I was mistaken of some of the details. I believe it more now than I did then. Okay. Oh. Well, you could find the Discord. You could independently verify that fucking Carrie said it. 1 February 2020. I don't give a fuck what Marvel says. Marvel is a fictional universe. You want to go there with me? Okay, great. Where's my fucking Veritech? I don't see it. I want my hover tank, god damn it. And by the way, I want my lightsaber. I want it yellow because that's the way I roll. And I will be down at the strip club getting a lap dance and drinking a beer while I'm hunting somebody who needs to be hunted down. And what the fuck else was it? I want my Veritech. What did you do? We'll talk about that later. And I don't know the rest of that shit. All right. Are we all up to speed here? Oh, I want my I want my battle star. That was the other one. Good. I think I've covered, and my phaser. So I like phasers over blasters. Personal. And I'm only up to the first hour. Do not, for God's sakes, do genetic engineering on animals. Stay as far away from that as possible. The fact that it was done, and we knew way the hell back in the 90s from Wesley's mistake, multiple mistakes, but moving right along, is we should know better. But we did it anyways. Well, okay. Somebody who should really know better and did it anyways, that shows a certain callous indifference. Who has callous indifference? Oh, Iran has callous indifference. That's what started me down that train of thought. Gee. Yeah, by this point, the idea that it was racist to say that it started in a lab in China was already out there. And I even remember thinking, no, it's not necessarily racist. But then I stopped and thought about, wait a second, there is a certain degree of racism in that. The assumption that these stupid Chinese can't do anything right. And wait a second. On the one hand, you're saying it started in a lab in Wuhan. They're smart enough to do that. And on the other hand, you're saying, but they're not smart enough to handle it? You can't say both at the same time. That doesn't make sense. Well, it would make sense if it wasn't an accidental leak. By the way, at that point, the operational theory was that somebody had taken meat from destroyed bats and sold it, which made even less sense because these people work with this stuff. They know what it is. They would know better. Okay, that didn't make sense. And then their bat soup thing. That makes even less sense because boiling the meat or cooking it or whatever would destroy the virus. So that doesn't make sense either. What would make sense here? The only thing that would make sense is a deliberate leak. Who would deliberately leak it? Ding, ding, ding. Okay, but I get the yellow one. And yeah, black magic. Guys, if you have not spent 6 months in fascist book prison, the fuck is wrong with you? You know, what are you, a bitch? Oh, well, okay. Black Magic has an excuse. He's not on Facebook. Um, okay. Black Magic brings up an interesting observation. Awfully convenient how the Chicoms released a virus that wipes out the old, weak, and sickly as they are facing a demographic collapse. First of all, that demographic collapse was a thing, what, a couple of years before the outbreak? Um, so he's onto something there. They started to talk about lifting the one child rule. What, 5 years before that? This is when I first heard it. They may not have been taking it seriously even now. I really don't know. But they have been talking about that for years. And I know Japan in particular really started talking about it after Mike Hotel 150. You know, the plane that disappeared and we still don't know what the fuck happened to it. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I under the impression Japan has lifted the one child rule because they had 20 families wiped out in an instant with no explanation. Those families are still wiped out. And this is a huge religious thing in Japan. If you don't have children, in Eastern philosophies in general, and amongst many of the Indian tribes, if you don't have children, you are the end of your line. You go to oblivion. Talk about that someday. It's not me. It is what it is there. The weird way the virus has killed some people and not others is another reason you don't fuck with genetics like that. All right? Don't do it. You really don't know what's going to come out of the box. And unlike Pandora's, you don't know what's in the box. You will not hold on to anything you want. And worse still is everything you could possibly imagine is worse. Okay, Cheese Bear is telling me that China or Japan, or maybe both, have rescinded the one-child rule, so good for them. The world's most expensive child, $1 million. That's the number that was given to number and language that was given to me. Work with me here. A Chinese man on his 5th child. Black, accept the apology or face me. Good. Black Magic already did. Okay. Where was I? Don't fuck with genetics. Just don't do it. Unless your only intention is to kill and destroy. Oh. Who is interested in killing and destroying the world? Could it be a satanic church that now rules a small Middle Eastern country that everybody thinks is the joke of the region, except this fucking asshole, this rhymes with forget here, that has been saying those guys for going on 30 years now. Okay. I have no idea what that's about, black magic, but I'll let you talk about it later. Another reason to believe that Iran created the coronavirus. You'll never, ever shake me of this belief until you can give me the name of the Chinese scientists who actually did the work that created the coronavirus. And the name of the lab worker, researcher, scientist, janitor, whatever, that caused the leak. And it might be the same name for both. I'll go with that. Until you can tell me that that person is facing a judge and a jury and an executioner, I will continue to believe that China did not create the coronavirus. They may have created one, but they didn't lose control over it and lost control over it. Black magic seems to be implying that he knows something that I do not. Or he's trolling me. Or both. Both is good. Damn, I'm only an hour in. No, black magic, they do have judges. You're right, they don't have juries. And they have executioners. Which brings me to another reason to question the China narrative in general. Back in 2000, well, it had to have been before 2009, not later than 2009, the Chinese government, with basically no trial, executed 3 men. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Oh, executed 3 men for being involved in a piracy ring. Oh, for fuck's sake, guys. I am so sorry. The entire trial consisted of asking this, I believe he was the equivalent of a state governor in the United States. Provincial, he was a provincial governor? That's not the term they use, though. But anyway, asking him if he knew these other, I think it was 5 individuals who had been caught red-handed committing high seas piracy. I am not even fucking joking. Blackbeard shit. They were using AK-47s and RPGs rather than a mixed assortment of muzzle-loading black powder cannon. And they were not swinging from the yardarms. They were pulling up alongside in a small boat and forcing their way aboard. But other than that, I'm not even fucking joking. Blackbeard shit. Okay. This regional governor had to admit, yes, I know this man. Okay, you're guilty. And they beheaded him on live TV along with 2 others that they say were involved in this conspiracy. That is what passes for a trial there. Okay. Black Magic and Cheesebear have both asked about the link to Iran. And yeah, actually, it's here somewhere. And I will get it to you as soon as I can. Where was I? if they will execute somebody for merely knowing a man who committed a crime, what would they do to somebody who was so grossly incompetent that he killed at least 1 million of his countrymen? A public execution, it would not be. They would make an example of this one. Okay. This is not a great day for me. All right. And yeah, I know. Nobody accepts the Iran theory because well, at least Cheese and Black Magic, I'm willing to hear it out. Cheese, email me and I will send you the short form. No, Squatch, they would not vote for him. Okay. Jesus Christ, I'm only an hour in. I got to kill an hour. Well, we're into this one now, so let's continue on. Black Magic says, kill one person, you forfeit all rights. Kill 1 million, that's just a statistic. Okay. He's sort of got a point in regard to certain philosophies. Cheese, the email address is in the About section. It's behind a anti-spam bot blocker thingy. So you just have to verify you're not a robot. Where was I? Shit! I lost my place, guys, and I forgot to do something. Love you, Susan. Okay. Whatever else may be true of Iran, of China, one thing they do not want is people being killed without the government's permission. All right. This would to say that this was therefore an accidental release, but nobody's been tried and executed. Okay, let me rephrase that. Accused and executed, even to this day, would require somebody somewhere of saying, no, we don't want this guy executed. We refuse to allow this individual to be executed. That would mean it was deliberate. Ow. There's a competing element of the theory that says Iran doesn't have these facilities. Bullshit. They've got 2 of them. China has 1. Now what? One of them was originally built in the 1890s, I believe, by France. And it's been upgraded over the century and a third now. It is a world-class facility. As a matter of fact, as late as the 90s, the Federation of American Scientists was saying that they would have it in about 10 years. About 20 years later, Global Security is saying they think that Iran has had those capabilities for the last 10 years. That's pretty good matchup in time. And their document came out 10 years ago. That is the correct quote Black magic. Where was I? Yes, they have the capability, and not everybody has the capability of doing genetic engineering. That's very, very sophisticated uh, chemical engineering. Most of it's chemical engineering. Anybody can make a super virus in their backyard. The U.S. Navy accidentally did it in the 1960s and 70s. There's a strain of gonorrhea? I think it's gonorrhea that is penicillin resistant. This was an accidental development by the U.S. Navy. When sailors would go on shore leave, they would be issued a penicillin tablet. You had to take it right there in front of your chief or lieutenant or whoever it was, warrant officer maybe, before you could leave. This was because the sailors would go ashore, they would bang a dirty whore and bring back gonorrhea. Well, this was to stop them from bringing back the gonorrhea. It wouldn't do the other two things, but it would hopefully stop them from bringing back the gonorrhea. It was a great idea for about 20 years until penicillin-resistant gonorrhea cropped up. Ooh, we did that. Now, if you can do that accidentally with 20 years of doing the same thing over and over again, thinking you're getting the same result and not realizing you're going to create a new result, what could you do with 10 years of very deliberately doing the thing? I'm just saying. No, not winning. Quick aside. I've been pestering Papa Carey about recording all of his stories from Vietnam, from the Navy in general, from his time at Vacaville. That's Vacaville State Penitentiary, by the way. On and on. And I know one of the stories, and it's pretty ugly. I understand why he doesn't want to talk about it while he's still alive. I'm pestering to record these stories, and after he passes away, that these stories will be made public. One of them that he has told me involves a certain second-class petty officer who was cheating on his wife. He was just generally a worthless human being. And how close a lab sample of one thing looks like a gonorrhea sample. And how easy it was for another HM to swap the two. So now this guy's going home with a gonorrhea report. I don't even know what Pop is. And by the way, he's got to explain that to his wife. And I'm just saying, sometimes you can solve a problem very, very easily. I do know what redonculus is. I know of redonculus. Okay, 45 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Dowd's like I should have done before I came on this morning. I constantly forget to do this. Somebody in the chat, remind me what I'm up to. I think I wrapped up on conditional exemptions last week. Exemption. Exemptions, categories of exemptions, exempt locations. Actually, I'm going to scroll up just here because I think categories is where I'd be at today. And nobody seems to be correcting me when I'm actually begging for it. So I'm just going to go on with exempt locations. Stop that screen share. And I'm going to go ahead and full screen this. It says there's 5 people in the chat, by the way. I'm just saying. Or 5 people watching. Hide that. You don't need to see that. Full screen. I'm not going to be able to see the chat for a moment, guys. Categories of exemptions. Total restriction. A person under a total restriction may not possess any item identifiable for use as a weapon. That is completely an officer discretion thing. Partial restriction. A person under a partial restriction may not possess any weapon of a certain characteristic as ordered by a competent jurist, such as firearm, edged, blunt, chemical, etc. I would probably get a partial restriction, chemical, because I'm just too loose and too casual with the pepper spray. Yeah, go ahead and try and make that case to a judge. I'll fight you. General restriction. Restrictions to general categories or capabilities, such as deadly or ranged. Selective. Restrictions to specific types of weapons only. Knife, pepper spray, etc. Okay, so I'd probably be pepper spray, but they're selective. There is a certain former couple that used to play with knives while they were having sex. I'm pretty sure their families would turn to a judge and say, Your Honor, they got some really nasty scars this time. We're asking you to take their knives away. And the judge may just suborn that. Any person under deadly weapon exemption may not possess any item determined to be a deadly weapon except in immediate labor or case. Said case must have a locking mechanism in operating order. Any person under exemption against deadly weapons may not possess firearms under any circumstances. Okay, you get a partial restriction of edged weapons or a selective restriction of knives, but you are a 5-star chef. You need knives to do your job. Yeah, okay. You can carry your knives in a case with a locking mechanism intact. Now, having done all that, I realize I covered this last week, but it bears repeating, I guess, or even if it doesn't. Exempt locations. Persons other than employees in the following locations are exempt. Airports. Any person other than airport employees shall not possess any weapon in an airport. Said weapons may be checked into their baggage as provided under federal law. Law enforcement personnel not traveling on agency business in custody of a suspect or other person of interest are included in this restriction. So, yeah, cops still can't carry their guns onto planes unless they're on the clock and actually doing a job. Airport and airline employees are required to carry a handgun while on duty except as provided under conditional exemptions. Flag on the play. That's really about the mechanics, sort of. Baggage handlers, sort of. And much more importantly, other ground crew, the guys that might be moving planes around or walking the various parts of the airfield where the planes may be maneuvering, because foreign object is a real thing and can do a whole lot of very, very real damage very quickly. So, okay, you're walking the tarmac, the airfield part, and you don't want a gun on you. You know what? With the grace of God, go, but don't start sending now. Government buildings. Any person other than building staff shall not be required to possess any weapon in government buildings where armed security is provided. Said weapon may be surrendered to building staff before entry and shall be returned upon departure. Building staff are required to carry while on duty, except as provided under conditional exemptions. That's also just the safety issues. And I skipped one by mistake. K-12 schools. Any person other than staff shall not be required to possess any weapon on school grounds where armed security is provided. Said weapons may be surrendered to school staff or stowed in lockers at point of entry before entry and shall be returned upon departure, or may be left in the individual's vehicle. School employees are required to carry a handgun while on duty, except as provided under conditional exemptions. Okay, again, it's just the basic safety issues. This is the exempt locations is one of the few areas where real restrictions apply that say, no, you don't get any restriction. And if you apply to an exemption, and if you have an exemption other than it's just not safe, and I'm thinking cafeteria workers and flight line employees and guys who work with electricity. Okay. And that's just a fundamentally unsafe environment to have a firearm in. Okay. Everybody else, if you have any exemption whatsoever, you can't work in these locations. So think about very seriously, do you want to be a school teacher and not carry a gun? It's not going to happen. Law enforcement personnel are required to retain their firearms in schools, government buildings, and other exempt locations except airports when not traveling in custody of a suspect or a person of interest. Such facilities as can be shown by good cause and reasonable prudence and caution to be unsafe for the carrying of any weapons or of selective restrictions to the degree thereof required. Military and law enforcement personnel are exempt from the restrictions above on military bases. Base commanders may refuse access to base to law enforcement personnel for cause. Okay. That last part. Right now, military personnel cannot carry a firearm on a military base because of federal law. I didn't say it made sense. I said it was federal law. That should be self-explanatory. There is the option for military base commanders to refuse access to a military base to law enforcement personnel, but it always causes a nasty ruckus. The difference between now and then and now is the base commander has to show cause. Ooh. It might stall the cops for a couple of days, and you better show the cause. This cop has been shown to arrest and selectively target military personnel and arrest them for things that otherwise they could not be arrested or would not have normally been arrested for because he hates military personnel. I've met that guy. He's an asshole. He really is. I've also met cops that will let military off with a warning or effectively a warning, though in my case it was an expensive warning. I know I was over the speed limit. I know I was 15, 20 miles over the speed limit. He wrote me up as 14 and a half, or 14 even, actually. And I didn't have my driver's license on me, and I didn't have my proof of registration, and I didn't have my proof of insurance on me. He could have taken me to Sacramento County Jail. He wrote me up as 14 miles over the speed limit. Thank you very much. I paid it and kept my mouth shut. Any person, third party exemptions, any person either unwilling or unable or unwilling to apply for a mandatory exemption may have said exemption applied to a court on their behalf. Any person for whom an exemption is requested by another party may petition the court to refuse said exemption and has the right to a hearing by an impartial jury, and you see jury is in capital letters. I don't apologize for that. If I could write full jury there, I would. It's just excuse me, guys. I'm going to remove that. Okay. Stop that screen. Add to that. Okay.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
And you know me, so I am going to share a window. What's on your mind, Squatch?
I'm chilling like a villain. You know, cheating, robbing, rhyming, stealing. What's up with you, brother? What you got doing?
My usual, oh, shit.
You'll figure it out.
No, I won't.
I got faith in you.
I boomer as hard as you do. I boomer harder than you. Okay. I'm going to back up the... didn't mean to back it up that far, guys. Oh, wrong window. That's why. Okay. I'm just going to scroll over this kind of a little on the slower side. Okay. I follow the way. Really?
The wrong way, dude. I'm talking about Pops. The way of Pops. MGTOW and all that
No,
stuff.
he stole it from
Yes.
them. Okay, give me a few minutes. I need coffee. Down to 55. Inside. Oh. That was easy. A lot of paperwork for him and court appearances if you fought it. No, Black. I'm talking about me. I'm the one that screwed up that day, and I know it. And I get the Sasquatch part now. Yeah, he's a hairy motherfucker. This is news?
Yeah. Very hairy. You know what's funny there? I don't have any hair on my chest or back because grass don't grow on a playground.
Okay. It's a good thing, Squatch, that I know you. Moving right along.
Go ahead, brother. I didn't mean to interrupt. Bleach your thought.
Squatch being here reminds me of two things. First of all, I'm imposing the Amira rule, which is that if you come backstage, you have to have your camera on to get on the stream. I think Luke might have caught that. Disaster. You can turn your camera off after, but you have to have the camera on to get. Well, you can turn your camera off before you come out front. But yeah, while you're backstage, you better have your camera on. Apparently, somebody on another stream did something that was unbelievably inappropriate and got a whole channel yeeted for it. And I'm telling you guys, this was a hit. This was just a hit. And the individual who got hit just they just happened to pick her stream to do it. And that's unfortunate. Moving right along. The other rule is you have to be sober. I'm not going to get into that, but
no drunken Sasquatch running around on stream. That's not permitted.
Or anybody else. Right. It's come up a couple times. I should have addressed it a long time ago. I didn't until now. All right. Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, Exiled Lioness made it. Hi. Fix is watching, by the way. Well, Fix is listening. She better be watching those fucking horses, although she might not be able to hear me because It is a big pen area. And Black Magic earlier said, are they gaslighting me? I guarantee you, they're gaslighting you because it said two at one point. I know I'm one of the two, and I know Fix is uh, watching or listening in the background, so it's on for her. So that's two right there. Um, uh, XL, I don't know if you realize this. Luke is one of your followers, and he says he's been following you longer than I have, and I'm not willing to fight him. And guys, XL's awesome. Angel actually found her. Oh, Jesus Christ! 2 years ago through Walkaway. So follow the shit out of her channel. Um. Okay, moving right along. Where was I? Who's the guest? XLNS asked. Sasquatch. Oh, for
Yes,
fuck's sake!
I know. I know.
Did
I'm
you
trying to
just
fix.
stir me? Explain very quickly for everybody what you are and what you do.
Oh, well, I hunt the YouTubes specifically to try to find small channels that I think have some part of an excellent content, something, some little thing that makes me look at them harder than other channels. And then I
Okay.
bring them on a show for a live stream, let them explain why they do what they do, where they're going with what they're doing, and whether or not there's anything behind it or it's just a hobby. And it's just kind of a way for the community tab post to be bastardized into a parallel algorithm that doesn't differentiate based on YouTube, it differentiates based on our tastes. So if a guest comes on and they have a community tab, when I do my next show, I request one share a week from my guests. It's really the only thing I request. That way, every guest adds to the number of subs that get a community tab back to my original live stream. When they go to the show from that community tab, it goes to the live stream, not to the episode that I post later. So my live stream sits privately, generating views by itself, just sitting over there in somebody else's community post.
So you introduce small channels to larger audiences.
Benefit everyone involved in the system.
Um, Out of curiosity, where did you get the idea to start a channel?
Um, well, originally I had two major ideas I wanted to do. I wanted to do a sort of reactionary political channel, vaguely reminiscent of Sinatra Says, right?
Okay.
And Ozark Yeoman convinced me that this hairy redneck hick could probably pull off something resembling a decent channel if I did it right. The very second I actually started the channel, though, forces that be were working against what I had planned. I had planned to just do reviews, kind of like you see every other channel out there doing, and then um,
Uh, okay,
reading westerns.
Squatch, I'm going to interrupt you here. That's not actually the question I asked. Who gave you the idea to do this? Or how did you come to the idea that you might want to do this?
The show or YouTube in general?
Oh, yeah, YouTube in general.
Right. Ozark Yeoman was doing his political discourse. The carnal conservative was talking into the ether, and you were staring into a camera just babbling. And I thought, I can do that, and I can do it differently because I'm a strange guy.
So, in other words, I'm the reason you're on YouTube.
Part of it, yeah.
part of it.
It
Yeah, like
has to do with the fact
20%.
that your content is capable of maintaining itself under its own weight. There's plenty of people out there who would like it. They just don't know it's there because YouTube doesn't promote such stuff. They just don't.
Yeah. Squatch's channel is partly my fault, guys. So I'll
Partly my
accept.
yes.
I'll explain. I'll take the blame for the worst jokes. Um, XL
Oof,
Landon Michelle might have
them's
noticed
big
got
words.
made a got made a wrench on her first stream. Guys, I trust her judgment better than I trust my own. I'll tell you, everybody whose judgment I trust more than hers. Papa Carey. Oh, I'm sorry. Papa Carey. The BM1 that I've mentioned in the past. Fixed bayonets because I know she'll stand up to me and she scares the shit out of me. And I can stand up to her, so that's kind of equal. Uh, Persephone Betty, who doesn't show up anymore. Maybe I need to take her wrench away. Um, Sorry, Squatch. I trust your judgment more than yours.
Okay. I don't really trust my judgment very much.
Of course, I kind of trust your judgment more than I do mine, too. So that's.
Now that might be advisable. I'm a
Yeah, well,
very,
yeah.
very, very low risk individual. I don't take those kinds of risks.
Geez, I'm only taking the blame for the worst jokes. Moving right along. All right. Luke, Discord. Catch me on Discord. No, it won't be this morning because I have things I have to deal
You
with in the
know,
morning.
I have a
Um,
Discord.
you do? When the
Yeah.
f- are you going to send me an invite? What the
How?
hell? What is wrong with you?
Dude, I
Do I
just
have to
found my
call you?
Instagram last night.
What?
I just found my Instagram again last night. I downloaded all that shit. It's all lined up with Caucasian Sasquatch, what the hell ever. It's all Caucasian Sasquatch. Twitter,
Yeah. Well,
Instagram,
I better have that link by the time I go to sleep tonight, or
Okay. I'll figure it
or I will
out.
take it out of your ass.
I
Um,
mean, the only people there is road dogs, and that's because you figured out how to tell me to do it, and I can't remember. But I'll figure it out. I'll
we'll figure
send
it
you a
out.
link. How do I send you a link? I can email it to you. I will do that.
Uh,
I've never been on Discord, cheese. Ever. Ever. I
it's
did get hey DM Foss. How you doing? Good to see you, brother.
Hey, DM. I did not know that. I didn't know he had an Instagram, Foss. What else are you holding out on me?
I also have a Twitter and I had a Trovo and they booted me. I never even posted anything to Trovo.
I haven't
I
heard
don't know.
of Trovo in like 2 years now. Okay. Um,
I just
there's a
ruined
few,
everything.
there's a few people in here that I need to send kind of a more private than public message to, and hopefully somebody else will catch the reruns. Um, I'm really, really hoping to take a trip up to Washington State by summer. Um, there's a gun store up there. It's in Olympia, Private Sector Arms. They have a product that I'm really excited to interview the owners about that makes an AR-15 Washington legal. And if I understand what they did correctly, you could actually put it onto a California legal lower, so you'd be legal in both states. It's still not legal in um, uh, New York, and ironically enough, I don't think it's legal here because of the restrictions, and it's not legal in New York because it's not uh, strict enough. Okay. Thank you, Exile. Your presence it was a blessing. Yes, Olympia. Um. Oh. Yeah. Okay, we're caught up on the chat now. Yes, I did see
What,
that, Black.
what does the exiled lioness do? What
She
shows she
does
keeps it
uh,
on?
very conservative, like much more conservative than me. Um, uh, content.
Fantastic.
She's. How many of you have noticed that I don't bash on religions? Squatch, have you noticed that?
Yeah, no, I thought that was an interesting omission in just about anything you speak about. It's not that you're against it or for it. You simply do not respond to it. It's like a void.
I typically don't. Um, what y'all don't know is I. There is one religion that I will bash on. Squatch, you've been
Hmm.
around a while. Which one do you think it is?
I've only been alive for 4 months.
Don't give me that shit. Which religion do you think it is?
I wouldn't know nothing about none of this, Carrie. What is what? I'm sorry. I was trying to check and see who people in chat what they were doing. That's how I find my little channels. I'm sorry. What?
Which religion do you think I bash on?
Oh, I wouldn't presume. That's the thing is you seem to believe people think you would be against the general Mohammedan, but you don't seem to actually be against any religion. But there are certain persuasions of people that you don't seem to like of a certain stripe,
Okay,
not
Black Magic,
really
I can
because
tell you
you are
you're wrong.
religious specific, sir.
I'm Black Magic asks Islam, and no,
Well, that's what I'm
no.
saying. Is you would assume people would assume that, but I've never seen that to be the case at all.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna just cut to the chase and give you the answer. Satanism and every satanic cult starts as a one of the other religions.
Bunch of
No,
goth
Black.
kids in the basement getting edgy.
No, those are typically just dumb shit kids.
Let me ask you this:
Smoking
how
pot.
much do you know about McAllister or Alistair
Mc,
Crowley?
Crowley.
Now,
I know
McAllister Spy. I'm sorry, I got my names mixed up. I'm talking
I
about
know
Alistair.
enough to know that he was part of one of the satanic cults. This one came out of
Uh,
the the God damn it.
he's also indirectly responsible for the development of the women's Wiccan circle and the Wiccan temples.
Well, yeah,
Not
it
directly.
was
He didn't found them, but some of his
spiritualist.
followers did.
He came out. He morphed the spiritualist movement into a satanic one of these satanic movements. Oh God damn it, LeVay. Um, yeah, he didn't morph anything. He was a Christian, and then he turned his back on all of it and went total shit brick the other direction. Believe it or not, that's the only religion I hate. Um, Exiled Lioness is Muslim, and I follow her channel as hard as I can. I've missed a few streams. Um, and I'm sorry. I talk about you all the time. I just never say anything bad. The worst thing I say about you is um, stop with the obsession about bottles. She will not drink from a bottle on a stream.
Are we
She
talking
says
plastic bottles, glass bottles, metal bottles,
any
refillable
bottle,
bottles?
any
Just no
bottle,
bottle? Is
just
it
no
like
bottle.
a phobia or is she just preferable to a glass or cup?
Um, you know what? Check out her stream and ask her.
Okay. No, I will do. I've already subbed.
Um,
I take it she's one of those slightly throttled channels. She hits some buzzwords, but the wrong ones in some cases.
yeah, actually, Exile, I think, has been throttled a little bit. And no, you're not qualified to handle it. Moving right along. Where was I? I was um trying to convince more of you to go check out Exiled and Squatch and a few others. Um,
I'll come check out X. I'll bring the whole hood with me. There just might be a few trolls along for the ride. I can't control what people do.
you can't. Um, where was I? So yeah, go check her out. She's a Muslim, very conservative, like much more. Well, I never really was a conservative. I'm a moderate, but
Wait a second. Hold on. Hold on. Hold
and
on.
she's got a very very interesting.
But a very
Uh,
conservative Muslim. No,
oh
wait,
yes,
wait. Very conservative to the American norm or very conservative for the Muslim norm? Because these are very different things.
American.
Okay. All right. I'm good. Yeah. Good.
That's a good point. Um, yeah, and as she points out, she's been shadow banned. I think actually, if you go check out my about page, it says I have about 150 subscribers. I think it's actually closer to 200, but people get unsubbed from
Right.
time to time. Now,
Yes.
to put that into context, guys, uh, Squatch here has what 400,
600.
600, and he's
604.
been
Yes,
doing
sir.
it
3 months or 4 months.
2 months, 4 months. Um,
But you have to
uh,
admit, I have a very unique show.
you do, guys. He's actually funny sometimes. Um,
Sometimes.
did you ever put my favorite joke up? By the way,
I sure did. I sure did. I did. I put it up. I
okay.
edited it into a short that I called a mandatory joke.
I have not seen it yet.
It's in there. It's exactly 58 point some change in seconds, and I managed to get your and keep calm and mandatory carry on into it. It was difficult. It was difficult, dude. That was a long freaking joke. You sabotaged it, but I think it did well. It got 1,400 views.
I could not possibly have sabotaged it. That's my joke. And the punchline.
I'm
Tell
just
people
saying.
what the
I was trying to
punchline
make
is.
a short. I was like, send me a joke. I'll make a short out of it. You sent me a 6 minute recording of a joke.
That might be true. It's a long
Edited it
joke.
down to 58 seconds. You're fucking welcome, dude.
Um, I gotta go see that.
Yeah,
Hey,
I can bring it up if you want.
Squat. Yeah, can you drop that in the chat? Squatch, tell everybody what the punchline of the joke is.
I will not. I will play the joke for you. It is your joke. You can. Oh, wrong button. That's the wrong one. I need to switch sides.
Okay, while you're
There.
setting that up, when you go check out Exile's channel, um, she's got a very uh, painful story. It's I think her first video about what it's. I believe the title is that it's safer to be a certain type of person. I'm sorry. It's safer to be Muslim than a certain category, other category, and it's an unfortunate truth. And I don't want to give it away. Um, go check that one out. I think that's the one that Angel found first. Have you almost got that set up since you insist on playing it now?
I'm getting there. I got a lot of crap on my channel, man. Like I got a lot of crap. That was a long time ago.
Oh, Exile, let the secret out. Please, you have to have thick skin to survive in this dive. The thickest skin I've ever seen after Reginald. was fixed bayonets, and oh my god, you can't. Babe, I love you to death, but you need help. The kind of help I can't give. 605. Yeah, god damn it. Squatch, I hate you.
You can hate me. Wait, why?
You got
Because
600
of 600
subs
subs? Dude,
in
listen,
less than
listen.
6 months.
It's the format of my channel. I planned that. I actually planned this. You got to hear me out.
You planned
Whenever
it
I
that
do a
way.
show, when I do a show, I list your channel name as Meet So and So, right? So when somebody searches your channel name, it comes up with your channel and my show. So even months after I've hosted your channel and you've done something that gets your channel shadow banned, my show will still pop up in the search algorithm.
Okay. Um,
It's
have that backup plan, guys, by the way. Um, no,
all
it's
right. I got it
hangry,
ready.
exile. And go eat. Go eat. You
You
were here
ready?
at all. Go. Salesman. He's driving down this.
Yeah, Barry.
Go. Start.
Okay.
Traveling salesman. He's driving down this country road. He sees a sign that says psychiatric correctional facility 5 miles on right. 5 minutes later, boom, 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 boom. Sure enough, he's blood and tired. And that's when he hears a man standing next to the fence, mooning while he rocks himself. Goes to the trunk, he gets the spare out, brings it back forward, puts the spare up onto the car, and the lug nuts are gone. Damn it, how am I going to get out of here? Mister, if I were you, I'd take one lug off the other three wheels, put it on that one. How did you come up with that? I'm crazy, not stupid. Keep calm and mandatory carry on. Well, butchered it.
Hey, what
Okay.
am I supposed to do, man? It's a minute. I get 58 and a quarter seconds.
Um,
It got, hold on. It got,
traveling.
say I butchered it if you want to. Hold on. Let me figure out how to get past this. 2,452 views.
Fuck you.
That's you, Carrie.
Um,
You did.
okay, fuck me. Now what's the punchline of the joke? Because I know I told you the punchline.
I'm crazy, not stupid.
No,
That's the first line of that joke.
punchline of the joke is in order to be able to tell that joke, you gotta be the one behind the fence.
Yeah, no, I get that. That's subtext though.
Yeah,
If you've got too much subtext in a joke, it's not a joke.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay,
grok
moving
that.
on. We actually are all having a fairly good week this week, and we're coming up on the 2 hour mark. So we're gonna start, as Ghost Tack would say, sweeping the decks. Except he doesn't say that, but anyway. Um, okay. Um, we actually had a really good week. Yes, there was the DARPA release, and well, gee, not uh, uh, not a surprise. Literally everything except a surprise there. Um, there was the Denver and I-95 disasters, and the other traffic accident, which was it wasn't competence, it wasn't evil, it was inexperience and maybe a little bit of arrogance. Okay, a lot of arrogance. They could have been avoided. But all in all, guys, we had a pretty good week this week. All right. And yes, I know not I I mean, Squatch doesn't even believe me about my Iran theory, do you?
Um, it's not beyond the realm of comprehension given how many times Alex Jones has been right recently. You're due
What,
for one.
Alex? Uh, uh, what did AJ say about this
This
concept?
isn't the proper platform for such a discussion. I'm just saying that man has got too many
Stay back.
quarters in the ripe
Stay
jar.
backstage. Don't bail out when I close up shop. Um,
Okay.
so please get your questions together for this afternoon because there will be an afternoon stream. Minor announcement: next month there will not be any afternoon streams because I'm going to start with my regular Thursday thing. Uh, as we're coming out of the chaos of the last 2 years, and get home bags ready. You're gonna want it, right? You're gonna want 2 or 3. Put one in your desk, one in your car, and carry one around. I don't know, but you're really gonna want it. There's at least a few people in the chat today who've been in the middle of a situation where they should have had one and they didn't have one because they didn't know of it. Well, you do now. For God's sakes, get one and have it. All right.
All right.
Um, Geez, I saw that, and I will check the email as soon as me and Squatch wrap up what we're going to do here. and until it's afternoon, keep calm and
Mandatory carry on.
goodbye, guys.